Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I'll be doing a YouTube comment section deck tech for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a current list, I'm looking for any of the 5 following metrics in the comment section: a bracket, a budget, a commander, a theme, and any pet cards you have. Today, we have Blaine reaching out, who sent me his current list for Cloud X Soldier. Bracket 2 with a Final Fantasy theme wanted me to give it some upgrades and kind of polish it up a little bit, give me some thoughts. So that's what I did. Cloud X Soldier is red, green, white, so Naya and 2 colorless. For a haste 4/4, when he enters, attach up to 1 equipment you control to him, and then when he attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then, if he has power 7 or greater, create true treasure tokens. So if it's not obvious, what we're doing is we're doing equipment. But in addition to that, we have a very healthy amount of Final Fantasy-based creatures. What I will say right off the bat with this deck is lacking card draw. This deck is lacking consistency. And what it lacks in those two things, it makes up for in Final Fantasy flavorness. So I'm totally down to build a flavor-based deck. Not every deck has to be consistent, specific ramp, specific card draw, specific this, specific that. I did add a decent ramp package. I did add some better equipment, but overall I left the core of the deck, which was a Final Fantasy thematic, feel like you're playing the games theme inside of here, and we, because of that, do have to sacrifice things like card draw. Start off with Arden, Intrepid Archaeologist. It allows you to equip stuff for free. Armored Sky Hunter, when he attacks, allows you to look at top cards of your library to find an equipment. Armory Automaton will, whenever he enters or attacks, you can attach any number of equipment. Balan, he has double strike if he is equipped, and then you can pay 2 to attach all equipment to him. Barrett, whenever an equipment you control enters, you make a rebel. Another Barrett, whenever he attacks, he deals damage equal to the number of equipped creatures you control to a player. Birds of Paradise, he's a big fan of birds, so I left it in here. Bugenhagen, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature of power 7 or greater, draw a card, plus it ramps you a little bit. Kate Sith. To be honest, I don't know what a lot of these Final Fantasy cards do. They're just in here for flavor. So this is a flavor guy. Sid, he is flavor, but he also makes your equipment a little cheaper. Cloud is obviously insane, can let you search up for any equipment you want. Obviously, you're going to get the Buster Sword, right? Codsworth makes your stuff easier to equip, and then it also gives your commander's ward. Danitha makes equip cost cheaper. Gilgamesh from Final Fantasy has to do with equipment, obvious reason. Kodama, it makes your modified creatures have trample and then allows you to ramp. Professor Hojo, never seen this card in my life. I don't even know what it does. Piercedale Paladin, great equipment S card. It allows you to equip stuff when you have Metalcraft, and then you can also draw a card whenever an equipment enters. Red, modified creatures have vigilance and trample. Sakura Tribe Elder is the beginning of the same 10 pieces of ramp. So Blaine, if you're watching this, I cut all of your trash 3-mana ramp pieces. Time to move up into the 2020s and move up to 2-mana ramp. You have Sakura Tribe Elder, Farseek, Rampant Growth, 3 Visits, Nature Lore, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Soul Rain, 10 up, 10 down. Make your gameplay more consistent, and from playing with you a lot, I know it ain't. So please, fix your ramp package and you're going to have a better time. Sephiroth, Fallen Hero, whenever he attacks, put a counter on him, and then more stuff with modified creatures. SRAM, whenever you cast an artifact, you draw a card. Tifa, another thing that has to deal with power 7 or greater. Vincent, 7 or greater. Yuffie, Zack Fair, all these cards are in here as a flavor win for him. not because I think they're the best cards that you can pick for these spots. But they do have to deal with equipment, modified, power 7 or greater, which is the same thing as your commander. So it all rolls up into the same consistent thing. Sorceries, Decimate. Talked about this before, but when you're in red and green, this is one of the better pieces of destruction you have access to. It's a 4 for 1. It's hard to argue. Open the armory to search for any equipment you want. And then all the ramp that we already mentioned. Instance, Boros Charm to make your stuff indestructible. I think the major way this deck is going to lose is by getting board wiped. So things like Boros Charm, Ultimate Magic, Heroic Intervention, all this stuff is to make sure that all of our permanents stay safe. And you can also search them up with Sunforger and cast them at any time, which is a neat little way to protect your board in equipment decks. Dispatch, Path to Exile, and Swords to Plowshares. 3 great pieces of removal for anything on the battlefield giving us trouble. And then finally, Inventory Management to split second, load up 1 creature with all the equipment. This can be a combat trick where you just throw everything on an unblocked creature. This can also be a way to just do it during the main phase and make sure you can skip all the equip costs. Multifaceted in that way. Artifacts. So we have Argentum Armor, makes your creature massive and lets you destroy permanents. Basilisk Collar gives them Death Touch and Lifelink. Buster Sword, obvious why it's here. It's a massive flavor win. It's Cloud's main squeeze, you could say. And it is an incredible equipment. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and then you may cast a spell. Mana value less than or equal to the damage that you dealt. This card is great. There's a reason it's expensive. Probably on par with the power level of things like Swords of Feast and Famine. Catechus gives your guy lifelink, and then if you have 30 or more life, gives him +5/+5, indestructible, and prevent all damage to him. Champion's Helm is hexproof +2/+2. Colossus Hammer +10/+10, loses flying. Conqueror's Flail, it's +1/+1 for each color, so normally that's going to be +3/+3. And then, as long as this equipment is attached to a creature, your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. So it's a great way to make sure that your Voltroned up commander is going to get through and not get Swords to Plowshares in the middle of combat. Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots to protect. Mithril Coat, same thing. Mithril Coat is kind of the same thing as Hammer of Nazan. 2 ways that we can make sure that our commander or whatever creature that we're deciding to load up with all these artifacts stays indestructible, stays protected, and stays on the battlefield. Sunforger, we mentioned this before. Incredible card in equipment decks. It allows you to unattach it and then go get a red or white instant and cast it for free. So you can go get Boros Charm to give all your stuff indestructible in response to a board wipe. You can also get something like one of these removal spells if you need it. Or Ultimate Magic to give this stuff permanents you control gain indestructible till end of turn. So another way to keep your board safe. When you are skimping on card draw in a deck like this, it's extremely important that the rate of all your cards is not only high, but they stay on the battlefield. So if you're playing a normal deck where you have some sort of a system or an engine piece that allows you to draw a card every turn or every other turn, you are going to consistently be able to deploy more threats. Therefore, the threats that you have in your hand aren't as important because you're going to be getting so many more of them. In a deck like this, it's important that all your threats stay on the battlefield because you're not going to be drawing many more cards. So it's important they stay and you protect them. Sword of Feast and Famine, probably the best sword ever printed. Fire and Ice might have something to say, but nobody else is in the conversation. Blaine, if you do have any other Sword of blank and blank, throw them in here over something. They're always good. Even just the protection clause is insane, and they're typically worth playing almost over any other equipment. Sword of the Animus for a little bit of ramp, and then finally Wrecking Ball Arm to give that creature base toughness and power 7/7, so you can hit all of those effects with all your creatures about if you have a creature with power 7. Enchantments, Forge Anew to buy something back out of the graveyard. Sylvan Library, the one real dedicated card draw piece in this deck. Hopefully you hit it every single game. Mantle of the Ancients. If you do happen to get your entire board wiped because you weren't ready or you didn't have something to save it, this is going to be one of those cards that it's going to be worth 5 or 6 cards at once, and it's going to basically restock your entire battlefield with everything that you lost. Finally, Strawn Back makes equip abilities way cheaper, and then it makes it the creature much, much bigger, +2/+2 for each artifact and enchantment equipped to it. Lands, we've talked about this many times, but nothing here is a necessity. Bonder's Enclave is going to be great consistent card draw, which we're lacking on, so I don't think you should skimp on this, and for $30, it's kind of hard to argue against it. Rogue's Passage to make something unblockable if you are not going to play the Sword of Blank and Blanks in your deck to give protection from all of the colors. It's important that you can at least make it unblockable to get through with that big creature. The only other land I would say is important is Slayer's Stronghold, giving something haste. So post board wipe, being able to get a creature out there, equip it with a couple things, give it haste, and start connecting immediately is going to be vital to your success in actually closing games out. Besides that, when it comes to lands, do your best. In base green, you can be pretty consistent because you get all of the rampant growth type effects where you go to get specific basic lands out of your deck. And if you are having trouble hitting certain colors, just make upgrades over time with the money you have and the cards you have, and it'll get better and better. But overall, Voltron's always a good time. I have a Voltron deck myself. I think you're going to have fun playing this. Let me know how it goes. Please don't beat me up too bad with it. Add some card draw if you decide that some of these cards aren't super necessary. I'm looking at Barrett Wallace uncommon. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe add some card draw instead. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Godspeed.